Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Into the 99 podcast, where we got 99 cards because Commander is number one. I am your hostess with the mostest, Necrozak, joined by Dan, Lotus, Ryan, and our special guest, Paul, or as he goes by, there's some magic in their beard. So noticeably missing from the podcast today is Benson, who is in an undisclosed location, actually trying to hunt down some skinwalkers at Skinwalker Ranch. As always, you have the full support of the podcast, God luck and good speed. Today, we are going to be taking you kids to school. That's right. We're talking about Strixhaven spoilers and how absolutely amazing this set is and is going to be. Um, so before we get into that, Paul, do you want to tell a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, as you said, there's magic in that beard on Instagram. Basically, just share content and do a bunch of giveaways, trying to make it easier for people to get expensive cards for cheap.
And we appreciate that about you. Yeah, if you're not following Paul, please pause the podcast right now. Go subscribe, follow, whatever you possibly can to give this guy support because he's awesome.
Yeah, it definitely should be.
I
He's a
appreciate it.
great account.
So, Papa Dan, you want to start this tour of the campus off?
Yeah, we're gonna go through just a bunch of the rares and mythics. There's so many cards in the set, we obviously can't cover everything, but we're gonna do our best. We're starting with Beladros Witherbloom. First and foremost, I love that there's new Elder Dragons. I've always loved the Elder Dragons. I think they're really cool. Each one of the school colors, which are I'm gonna call guild colors for the rest of the episode, got their own new one. So Beladros Witherbloom is a 7-mana commander, 5 and Golgari. Flying 4/4, it has at the beginning of each upkeep create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. And then it has this weird ability of pay 10 life, untap all lands you control, only once a turn. So, yeah, if anyone has any thoughts on that one, feel free. Lotus, what do you think of this Beladros?
I think it is absolutely nuts. If you've watched the Brewing It Live that I did with the face commander of Witherbloom, we added this into the deck because it was spoiled, and oh wow, is it good. The ability to make 1/1 black and green pests that you can then sacrifice to gain a life. Insane. Just insane.
I think this card is going to be undervalued at first because it does have a high mana cost, even though we're in black, or I'm sorry, in green. But just the fact that you can untap all your lands by paying 10 life, like that says only once each turn. But if you were to sack it and recur it, it's a new instance of the card. So you can do it again. And there are so many cheap ways to be able to do that. And not to mention, I think of all the dragons, all the new Elder Dragons got alternate art and it's in full art fashion. Personally, I think this one has the best alternate art. You guys know how much I love reanimating stuff, and Beladros and his alt art looks like it's like coming out of the grave. It just looks amazing. I think this card is going to do a ton of work.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say that you guys haven't said already. I'm honestly excited about the making pest every single turn. I initially glazed over this card and thought it was just during your upkeep, and I was like, that's kind of underwhelming. And then saw that it's every upkeep, and I think it has the potential to get out of hand in a hurry.
I wonder who pointed that out to you.
I think it was Dan.
Mm.
I will say this is probably the card that I'm geeking out the most over for Commander. One of my favorite decks by far to play is Corvold, and this just easily slides in there. The fact that you have the pest and stuff like that, it can get gnarly so quick, especially doubling season, stuff like that, good stuff in there.
Well, and gaining life on the sacrifice too.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably Gold Span Dragon 2.0. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, I need this.
Yeah, it's good.
I definitely want multiples.
That's the problem with the set. There's so many good legendaries. They understand. They make these sets for standard. Wink, wink. The next one we've got here is Bleck's Vexing Pest. It's 2 and a green for a legendary pest. Other pests, bat, insects, snakes, and spiders get 1/1. When it dies, you gain 4 life. It's a 3/2. And then it has a flip sorcery on the back. And I think it's actually the first commander option that has that ability. to be a flip sorcery. Am I crazy, Lotus?
I think you're right.
My favorite words. The back has Search for Blex. It's 2 and a black, so this is a Golgari commander. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put any number of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. You lose 3 life for each card put in your hand this way. So kind of a Sylvan Library effect on a sorcery on the back. I really, really like this card. I just think it's very cool. I think it's a cool design space. Sorceries from the command zone are interesting. I have been informed after an argument that you will pay the command tax on the sorcery. It is 1 card. I had a slew of judges fill me in on that one, let me tell you.
Oh, yes. Many a conversation on that card. I am disappointed, though, that it doesn't include squirrels in the selection of creatures that it buffs. However, the most thing I like about this card is if Jar Jar Binks went off the deep end, this is what it turned out to look like.
It is methamphetamine Jar Jar Binks, you are right.
Yeah.
Didn't they errata squirrels to be pests?
I hope not. It's not something I've heard of.
Magic's more fun when you just make up your own rules and just convince everyone you're right. Yeah, no, that was ratted. Don't worry about it.
Has anybody ever met a squirrel that wasn't a pest?
Aw.
I really like the application of Search for Blex. It being 4 is really not that unreasonable. Being able to look at the top 5 and you can put any into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. Losing 3 life is kind of whatever because of what they've done with green and black in this set, you gain so much life, and anytime you lose or gain life, you're getting some kind of benefit out of it, right? So with being in green and black too, we're gonna want to fill our graveyard and take advantage of that stuff. So this being in the command zone is just amazing because there's so many applications. Like after you use the spell, it goes to the graveyard, and I'm fairly positive. Does it go to the graveyard as Search for Blex, or does it go to the graveyard as Blex, Lotus?
It'll go as the sorcery if you cast it as a sorcery, and then it will transform into its front face.
Okay, so I can Phyrexian Reclamation after I search for Blex once it goes to the graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. So there are a lot of like interesting things with green being green and black specifically being able to recur permanents and not so much being able to recur sorceries. You can search for Blex quite a few times to fill up your graveyard and just bring back Blex without ever having to worry about that pesky commander tax that Dan doesn't want to pay.
Nope. Won't pay it. I won't be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this card. It's very unique, very interesting design space. It being a mythic kind of bums me out because I want it to be a rare so I can get as many of these as possible. But it's legendary and does a lot of cool stuff. You can't really be too mad about it.
Yeah, I don't even care about the front face of the card. I'm all about Search for Blex. Like, this will never be a commander, but I think that it will be in every Golgari deck I run, or Golgari X, just for the Search for Blex part.
Honestly, I know we're mainly focused on Commander here, but the first thing I thought of when I saw Search for Blex is Death Shadow decks for Modern. Might be a little bit slow, but you could take all that damage and just put them out and do some damage real quick.
I mean, you could build some form of a shell that runs Mana Dorks and then cast this thing on turn 3, pay 15 life, and have a bunch of the next turn put a bunch of Death Shadows into play.
Yeah. I think the front face card, I could take or leave Blex himself, but the sorcery is amazing. I think Blex will make for some interesting tribal decks for Commander, but when I saw that sorcery, that's way too much fun.
There is something to be said about gaining the 4 life off Blex dying. Because like I said, we're in Golgari, so we don't necessarily care that it's dying because we're probably going to be able to recur it. And this is another card that could be very applicable in Tayam. Like I could see this being.
I was just going to say, I actually want one for Tayam because the ability to just sack my creatures so much in that deck.
And it's that magic 3 CMC.
That is the magic number. The next few, so I want to get everyone's opinions on legendary creatures, but I'm kind of just going to go through the next few, get everyone to read a few of them out. I want to read this first one, though, Blot Out the Sky. This is actually one of my favorite cards in the set. It gives this ability to a color I think needs it and doesn't have enough of it. It's X and then white and a black for a sorcery. Create X tapped 2/1 white and black inkling creature tokens with flying. If X is 6 or more, destroy all non-creature, non-land permanents. I love that ability.
That's good.
I think it's so good. Everyone like you just you don't see the non-creature non-land. It's usually if X is that many more, you destroy all creatures, and I don't want to destroy creatures generally in a token-esque deck. So I'm really happy to see something like that. I'm actually going to get Lotus to read this next one.
Could I say one thing about that before we move on?
Yes.
I like this better than Marshall's Coup, and we see Marshall Coup quite a bit. So in mono white, it makes sense, but this is just going to be, I think, way more applicable, and the art's sick. That's all
Yeah.
I really had. I just wanted to show the equivalence there.
Anyone else
Cool.
thoughts on it before I move on here?
No?
Lotus, next one, please.
So this is from my favorite school of Quandrix, Body of Research. Green, 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 blue, blue, blue. 6 mana total sorcery. Body of Research. Create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your library. Now, I used to play Animate Library in Unstable or Unhinged, and oh my god, they've made it standard legal. I'm gonna have so much fun. This is so much fun.
I
The
have
only issue I have with this is the amount of time it's going to take people to count their library.
I have nothing more to add outside of the fact that I absolutely love the fractal creature type. I'm so excited, and I hope we see that moving forward. I hope it kind of starts to either replace illusions or starts to be printed more regularly alongside illusions.
I also think the art is ridiculous.
Hmm
Yep.
This
They
set
nailed
has
it.
crazy good art.
Yeah, they nailed it in this set 100% with art.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest fear coming out of the spoilers for the set is the simple fact that I think seeing some of this continued on into future sets, at least in a card or two, because I think there's going to be a lot of fan love for this set with how closely it's tied into other properties.
Yeah.
Can
I
I?
go ahead, Zach.
I was going to ask if I could read this next one. Sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead, please.
So this is Crackle with Power. It's XXX red red for a sorcery. Crackle with Power deals 5 times X damage to each of up to each of 5 targets or X targets. Sorry, God, I butchered that. Um, everything about this card makes me super happy because my favorite red creature, the best red card ever printed, actually, just loves everything about this card. And if you don't know, that's Brash Tawner.
Third best
I
goblin.
Yes, you're right. He is definitely the best goblin. Everything about this card is nuts. We've been seeing a lot of these weird triple, quadruple, like red deal damage effects, and this just continues to, in this case, septuple or is it quintuple? I think it's quintuple down on that with 5 times the damage. Uh, yeah, you're just gonna be able to do a bunch of silly things. This kind of card is made for Commander. It's what makes me happy to see in Commander. I do hope Standard finds a way to break this, but yeah, this is what you want to be casting in Commander.
I'm honestly just going to put it in Zerta because it's something that I can dump infinite mana into and be like, I will kill everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Myself included. The game's a draw.
Oh, we lost the beard.
Paul will come back. He probably just got hit with a bunch of Brash Tawner damage with Crackle of Power. Has to reset his life total. Oh, that's all I had for Crackle of Power.
Did you have anything, Paul? Crackle Power?
I mean, you guys kind of already hit on everything with it. Just the fact that you can start multiplying and you can still get it out for pretty cheap and do some damage. So I'm just not a big fan of red, if I'm honest.
A man of culture.
So this next card is probably my favorite card in the set. Ecological Appreciation. It's X, 2 colorless, and a green for a sorcery. Search your library and graveyard for up to 4 creature cards with different names that each have mana value X or less and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards, shuffle those cards into your library, and put the rest onto the battlefield, and then exile Ecological Appreciation.
I think that card's amazing.
It's bonkers. I don't think they're is a downside, even if you cast it early and go get, 4 mana dorks all the way up to 4 haymakers that will just end the game. 4
I
utility spells, like I don't think there's a downside to this card.
I think it's such a cool card. Like, I'm very excited to be able to run that. It is 3 CMC, so I have to put it in TAM because everything good with 3 CMC belongs in TAM.
Well, it's going to go in Rada and Gave 100%. Probably my sacrifice play with your graveyard deck. Maybe Elves.
I mean, this one easily, it's kind of like we were talking about before, but this is just a new staple. For any time you're in green, you can get big stompy stuff, or like you were saying, the mana dorks. Like, this is one of them that I'm going to make sure I have quite a few copies of.
I can see this going in Merfolk as well, to be honest.
Why not? You pay 2 and go get all of your lords.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see kind of what people do with it in competitive because they do get to choose 2 of them to put back in. So it's not like you can grab a Thassa's Oracle Leveler alone with this card. You have to do something else.
True. But there's enough combo-centric creature strategies that...
But most of them are 2-card combos. So you would just take like if I wanted to Machias Walking Ballista, you would just put Machias back in the deck and give me my 0 Walking Ballista to die.
Yeah, but you just go get like Protean Hulk, Machias, Walking Ballista, and something else that, like Triskelion.
Yeah,
So
but
no
then
matter which,
like I said, then they just end up putting
Ballista
Machias.
and Protean Hulk back in the deck.
Yeah, and I get a 0 Walking Ballista. I don't know. I'm interested. I'll figure a way to use it.
So
Go ahead, sorry.
So my favorite thing about a lot of these these green cards in this set that are super big and splashy, they're like exile after it's been used. But Rift Sweeper is a creature, and I believe it's 3. It's 2 and a green, and it lets you put that card back. I believe it's in your library.
Yeah, Rift Sweeper lets you shuffle a card from exile
Yeah.
back in.
So
I love Rift Sweeper.
there's like no downside for most of these green cards that are incredibly powerful, but also exile themselves.
I bought a lot of Pull from Eternities because of these sets coming out.
Mystery Boosters foil.
Hey, you get it.
Good card.
Sorry, we have a few of the new there's so many cycles of legendary creatures. So they did the deans of the schools and they're flip cards, and I think they're very cool. So I don't know if this one is one of the deans or just one of the other flip card legendaries. I'll read the front side of this. I want Zach to read the back because I know Zach loves this. So it's Extus Auric Overlord, 1 white, double black for human warlock. It has double strike, magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, return target non-legendary creature from your graveyard to your hand. The minute I saw this, I sent it to Zach. Zach read it. He's like, "Why would they print this? This is crazy." And then I said, "Did you read the back?" And he said, "The what?" So Zach.
As I work reading the front of the card, like, you got to be kidding me. The back suddenly showed up, which is 6 black and red. So this is a Mardu commander. It's Awaken the Blood Avatar for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice any number of creatures. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each creature sacrificed this way. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. Create a 3/6 black and red avatar creature token with haste, and whenever this creature attacks, it deals 3 damage to each opponent.
Card's nutty.
Wow.
So I'm behind on the lore for this set, right? But I'm fairly positive, Dan, like this is the big bad for this set. Like
Correct.
the X I don't know how you just said his name. I'm not even gonna try, but everything that's going
Extus
on this
Auric Overlord.
yeah, that dude, whatever. I'm just gonna call him
Pardon me, my
X.
fridge is floating in the background.
Yes. But he's the big bad in this set, and man, I gotta say, like R&D, I think really hit the nail on the head with like everything about this being a bad guy card, right? Um, the magecraft is insane, and the sorcery is just like any deck you're going to be playing this in. The, the sacrificing the creatures is probably going to be so much more help to you than it is a hindrance, and I'm not sure if Wizards realized that or just didn't care. I love it.
Seeing some of the cards in this set, it's probably the latter.
Oh, I love it so much.
I really, really like the next one. Does anyone else have any other thoughts on this human warlock?
No, I just really wish that there was a way to play the molded dual face cards, like just play the backside, so I can play an Rakdos deck and not have to be in Mardu.
Sure.
Yeah, my all my other statements will be addressed when I do a deck hack.
Oh yeah, you're doing that one. I
I'm doing all
really,
of them.
I really like the next card. They thought, hey, everyone has complained Urza makes too much mana. What if we printed Urza for instants and sorceries alone? I was talking about
Yeah.
Galax Prismari though. Yeah, mouthful. It is 2, 1 blue, 1 red. For a 3/4 flyer dragon, one of the elder dragons. When it enters, you create a treasure token. Artifacts you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color, spend it only for instant and sorcery spells. I am in love with this card.
Same.
Like I like Izzet. I like treasure tokens. I like big spells. What can I say?
And
I
the
go ahead.
fact that you can use treasure tokens as a mana rock without sacrificing it.
Well, or you can double up and tap and then sacrifice it. Woo. Love it.
I think treasure tokens you have to tap to sacrifice, so you have to either choose one or the other.
I don't think so.
It's gold tokens, I think you're thinking of.
Am I crazy?
Yep.
Maybe.
It is tap. It is tap. Well, I'm still gonna, like I said earlier, you just make your own rules.
You could have asked the man who plays Negan. I would have told you.
Is there
Yeah.
Or
any?
the judge.
Are there any blue or red spells that let you untap all of your artifacts?
Dramatic reversal.
There you go. Problem solved.
I
Well, I
still
think
tap
this
for
is
dramatic
even-
reversal. I'll play it how I want.
Just this card, it's just one of those things. I just want to play around with it and see what kind of nasty jank I can do with it with like Thrasis Oracle or Leveler.
Yeah.
Just like draw all the cards, kill your creatures, slow you down early game, and then I just wipe my whole board. Here you go, I win.
I mean, surely this is a card that Benson should run with his rocks.
Yeah, that's true. The rocks do work, and Togo is in this color. Oh, Benson's going to be too excited. I didn't even think about that, but you are right. You can put
Yeah.
Togo in here and just keep making literal mana rocks. Like,
Yep.
well,
It's a
yeah,
big
no,
card.
I think it's an amazing one. I will let Zach read the next one because he'll have a stroke if I don't.
As soon as I saw this card, I said, I don't care how much it costs to get the print. I'm getting the print of this card, and we're framing it.
I'm probably also going to get a print of this. It is beautiful artwork. Seb McKinnon,
So,
obviously. Yeah,
yeah.
of course.
He know that
They
man
know.
does no wrong. It's Harness Infinity. 1 black, 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 green, 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 instant. Exchange your hand and graveyard. Exile Harness Infinity.
Card's insane.
I have no words. Like, be still my beating heart. There is no downside to this card.
It's a cool
Like-
card.
What? I'm so flustered. I just don't know what they were thinking, because everything about this card is phenomenal. No matter what green black deck I'm playing this in, I probably want my to switch, and that's okay. Yeah, and the exile thing, like I said, Rift Sweeper or Pull from Eternity. Well, exiling your stuff doesn't really matter. You can get it back. Yeah, there's no downside.
We have another legendary here. We have Hoffrey Ghostfire, 3 and the Boros colors, Lorehold colors. Dwarf Cleric, 4/5, and with the D&D set coming up, there is going to be lots more dwarfs coming. So I'm happy to see that getting more love. A lot you are going to notice dwarfs, warlocks, more of the D&D quote unquote classes getting a lot of love. This one, it gives spirits you control have trample and haste plus 1/1. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a spirit in addition to its other types, and it has, when it leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to your graveyard. So it is a really, really weird. Like I said, they really shifted the colors and what they do. Boros doesn't usually do this reanimator kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, God, I'm so excited about this card.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna like this one, Zach.
I hate Boros, but Lorehold, I like Lorehold.
Lorehold's all right with you.
Yeah, it's good in my books. Let's just keep printing Lorehold.
There's a lot of really cool interactions with it. There's people have been trying to like brew karmic guide loops with it already.
If we could just get a red Entomb, I'm
That
fine.
isn't gamble.
Yeah, I mean, I play Gamble already, but like a
Play
specific,
Tybalt. Keep just discarding with Tybalt as well.
yeah, like we get really good looting effects, which, like I've said multiple times, I'd rather loot than scry any day. But I just want to pay one red, go bend something.
Well,
Just
if
give
you're
me a.
hellbent, gamble is exactly that.
I actually hadn't noticed until we're looking through it now, but it looks like each of these color pairings did get a legendary creature that has a sorcery on the back, and then there's also the Deans. There's so many things to build in this.
Mhm.
The next one we have is Jadzi Oracle of, that is not a word I can pronounce, but it's Arcavios or Arcavios. I don't know.
Avocados?
Yeah, Oracle of Avocados.
Love it.
6 double blue, so 8 mana. That's a lot. Discard a card, return it to its owner's hand. So it's a pretty easy thing to protect. It has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it by paying 1 rather. What? I did not read this.
Card's
Well then.
insane.
Card's broken.
Well then, let me restart that one. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it by paying 1 rather than paying Omniscience for what?
Yes.
Yep.
It's my second favorite card in the set.
And if it's a land card,
If
put
you-
it onto the battlefield.
That's insane.
Whenever you
From
cast,
blue and green.
whenever you cast or copy an instant or so, why would they do this?
Have you read the back yet?
I have read the back. I was already excited about the back. I was going to talk. I literally had a talking point being like, the front face doesn't matter. The back's so good. What is this?
This card's
Oh.
insane.
I'm building this deck for sure. Journey to the Oracle is the backside of it because it needs more. 2 green. You can put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield, which is like my favorite thing to do. Landfall, Fields of the Dead, of course. Then if you control 8 or more lands, you may discard a card. If you do, return Journey to the Oracle to its owner's hand.
Actually, I'm looking at this, and it says 2 green on one of them and 1 green on the wide art.
I'm clearly playing only in the wide art.
Interesting. Yes, I will also be. These collector boosters are really going up in value.
Holy crap, it does.
Yeah, even on the
never
little
noticed that.
snippet on the bottom, it still says 4 or 3. So, who knows?
Well.
Buy the extended art.
I'm hoping that is a genuine misprint, and I will, like I said, make your own rules, people.
Hold on one second.
Does it actually say it when you load it up? And
This is Scryfall. This should be the official. Yeah, we're on the Scryfall list for anyone.
yeah, 2 green is the errated by the looks of it.
I'm going to pretend I don't know. Wink, wink. If you guys ever play with me, I'm cheating. No. While Lotus looks at that, I'll get Paul to read this next one. It's not one of the ones he's excited for, but I want him to read it.
Oh. Kashmina Enigma Sage. Legendary Planeswalker. Each Planeswalker you control has loyalty abilities of Kashima Enigma Sage. +2 is her +2 is Scry 1. Her -X is create 0/0 green and blue fractal creature and put X/1/1 counters on it. And then -8 is search your library for an instant or sorcery that shares the color with this planeswalker. Exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast the card without paying its mana cost. I'm not typically my colors, but I think you still could do some fun stuff with that, especially the -8.
To me, that -8 every time is Enter the Infinite.
This is a beautiful card. I love this card so much.
I think the alternate art is infinitely better than the regular art too.
Absolutely.
I just don't know why they printed this.
Simic needs a busted minute mythic.
Oh,
Because blue and green are clearly
that
the
one is.
weakest colors in Magic, and they need help.
I mean, just look at the last two cards. Like, you need to play blue and green.
Yeah, that blue card is pretty cool. Yeah. The next one we have here is Magma Opus. It is a very big card that does a lot of weird stuff. It's 6, and then the Izzet colors. It's an instant. Deals 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of targets. Tap 2 target permanents, create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature, draw 2 cards. But then it also has the ability to just pay hybrid mana blue green twice, discard Magma Opus, create a treasure token. So if you draw it early and you don't really have the mana for it, I really like cards with utility like that. It gives you the ability to get the treasure token is nice. I don't know. I wish it was a little more affordable cost wise, but I think it's not bad. Zach, I'll get you to read this next one here.
Oh, buddy, I was hoping you'd say that. Mascot Expedition. I'm sorry, Expedition got Exhibition. It's 7 costs for a sorcery lesson. Create a 2/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying, a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token, and a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. I love
Don't
this
like
card.
it. Don't like it. Where's the
I like
fractal token?
they didn't. Well, if they had done that, then it would have cost 9, and at that point, it's unplayable, right?
Not in my colors, it's not.
I mean, it's only a mythic. Um, you guys know like my love for colorless stuff too. Like I have my Karn Silver Column deck that I really pride myself on, and I was super excited to see that we got so many like colorless spells. Like there were quite a few that make the stuff in colorless decks like actually like more viable. Like I don't know if I would necessarily play this card, but the option to get to play it and it being like an okay card to play just makes me happy. Just having more options I think is always good for Commander.
It does give you do get 9 power for 7 mana. So that would be good on a creature, right?
Mhm.
So
I'm just kind of bummed that only the Inkling got evasion. I really wish the others would have had some kind of evasion. Like I don't understand why the Spirit didn't have evasion
why the
of
spirit had
some.
no flying.
Yeah,
Does it?
that
But does it follow what the tokens that are generated in this set do? Because like the 4/4 blue and red elemental creature is the same as all of the Prismari spells.
Oh yeah, like it's based on all of those ones. Like
right.
the Inklings are all the same, yeah.
I understand that. I was just saying, like, I really wish for 7 mana we would have got just some evasion. I know what they're going for, but I
Yeah.
mean, if you look at the mascot for Lorehold in the picture, like that's a giant elk. Why doesn't that have trample or something? You know what I mean?
Looking at the two cards, the wide art and the regular, I think I prefer the regular because you can see the art through the text box so much nicer.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm
The
always for extended art. I'll disagree on that one. But I will say with this card, I like the fact that, like, especially in like token decks, this could be really interesting because you can splice it into pretty much any colors you're playing. And you're getting variety for it. I think that's the one thing for Commander, especially if you've got stuff like Doubling Season, Anointed Procession. That's pretty good mana cost for what you're getting out of it.
I think it's pretty decent. The next legendary we have on the list should not be a mythic. It's a very good card. I'm very excited for it. It's not the power of the other legendary mythics. It's Mavinda, Student's Advocate. It's 2 and a white for a legendary creature, Bird Advisor, a 2/3 with flying. It has 0. You may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. If that spell doesn't target a creature you control, it costs 8 more to cast this way. If it be put into your graveyard, exile instead. Activate this only once each turn. So again, only once each turn, not just your turn. It is pretty cool, but that 8 more is pretty steep.
Mm.
Yeah,
Know,
I'm sorry.
I
That's
was
kind
gonna
of
say, yeah. Give me your thoughts,
that's
Zach.
that's kind of painful. Like I hate it because I love this space, like the design space for this card, right? It's super, super unique from mono white. Like Lotus has taught us, if she's taught us anything, that mono white is very powerful. Dan, you preach about it all the time. White is super powerful, but it's to what outs are you playing at? And I feel like this card could have been a much larger like gateway for people to give mono white the love and respect it deserves. But that 8 is just so like disinif is it disinifizing? No, Decentiv
Disincentivized.
thank you, I
Mm.
couldn't say it. You know, like, I think if that would've even been knocked down to 6 or maybe even 5, like, I don't think
0.
I would well, we already
I
have the
mean
0.
paying 0 to recast, to rebuff the Wicked, Illuminate, or even a Dawn Charm, just to recount some counter spells in white would have been amazing.
I mean, even if
Yeah.
you just make it 0, you can cast it and you can only activate that ability once per turn, and only on
Yeah.
your turn.
Well, it
It,
already
it would be too strong with 0. You do have to pay a little more from the grave.
Well,
You
Or
but you
gotta
pay
give
still
it a
the
little
mana
love.
cost for the spell.
I
They
think you
printed
still
cats. They know how bad it is.
No, but I think you still have to cast the spell. It's just you pay 0 in order to cast something out of your graveyard. Do you still have to pay the mana cost, or does
Yeah,
it make it
that's
free?
Kess.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to
No,
pay
that
the cost and then the 8 if you don't target
that's
your own thing.
and
that's terrible.
it's already set to activate only once each turn already. Like, that is
That's
already
fair.
at the very end of the card. So, like, yeah, like I said, going down on that, like, from 8 to something more reasonable would have been fine. Like, you know, we have access to a bunch of spells that white wants to cast again to keep up. Like, you're going to give Simic all these insane things, and you had such an amazing like template for a creature, and you kind of hosed it. It just doesn't. I don't know. I was excited when I read everything up until that very end. Even the 8, I don't know if I would have been as mad if the activate only once each turn wouldn't have been attached.
I'm pretty excited for. I'm still gonna build it. I just wish it wasn't
Yeah.
8. I'll get that cost down. The next card I really like as well, and I think it's extremely disrespectful, and I'm so excited about it. Uh, so the reason I'll say why it's disrespectful in a moment, but it's Mila Crafty Companion. So it's one white, and then it has on the back a planeswalker. It's a legendary creature. It's a 2/3 fox. Whenever an opponent attacks one or more planeswalkers you control, put a loyalty counter on each planeswalker you control. Atraxa is the most played uh like Super Friends deck. Everybody loves it. So every Atraxa player sees this in white and they're excited. They want to get their planeswalkers going. This is like probably the best Super Friends card they've ever printed. Then they made the back red.
I
It's
think
That's what.
it's for that reason.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
disrespect is unrealistic. There's no way that they looked at it and were like, forget Atraxa. It has another really cool ability, but I had to address that disrespect because it's hilarious. Whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. That's awesome. I'm going to get Ryan to read the back of this one here.
Luca Wayward Bonder, 4 colorless red for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. +1, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. If a creature card was discarded this way, draw 2 cards instead. -2, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste and exile it at the beginning of your next upkeep. And then -7, you get an emblem with whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals it deals damage equal to its power to any target.
Yeah, Warstorm Surge is pretty good
I mean, I don't think any of
as
these
an emblem.
abilities are bad. I don't think I want to be casting a 6 loyalty planeswalker that does this stuff. I think there's better things, but I like I like the discard and draw a card, and if you discard a creature, like draw 2. I like those kind of things where they give you an incentive to draw more cards. I kind of wish the -2 just left it on the battlefield and didn't make me exile it.
It not exiling at end step is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean there are a billion ways in red and white to sacrifice creatures or to deal with a creature, so I don't think it's the end all be all. Its emblem is sweet.
The emblem is pretty cool. Paul, this next one's all you, obviously.
Wait, I have things to say. I have
Yeah.
so many things to
Okay,
say.
go, Zach, go.
I have something about this one too.
Well, Paul, you go first.
Everyone
You're the
go.
guest.
Well, it's not about the actual card or the mechanic. I think it's a decent card. I agree. Like when I first read the companion, I was thinking, oh, that would be amazing in Atraxa. And then I saw the other color and I was super upset. But no, my question is more about the lore because
Oh,
I
I
love
got you.
lore magic. I love to get sucked in. Is Lucas supposed to be like Haggard or something? He's just their caretaker. Like he just seems so out of place in the rest of the set.
He got drawn to the plains, and I believe Lotus, is it the X gonna give it to you guy that was like, "Hey, if you help me, I'll help you."
I haven't read the lore on this set yet, so I still got that to look forward to.
I'm fairly positive that's basically what has happened. Is that he was drawn to the plane of whatever Strixhaven was on, because Strixhaven isn't the name of the planes; it's the name of the school, and they were like, it's like a promise of power type thing. Hey, if you help us out, we'll continue to help you, because he's been um, what's the word I'm looking for? He's been like altered by the Ozolith, so he's not as good as he once was. He's become like, that's why animals are tools to him. That's why him and Vivian have this whole rivalry type thing. 'Cause they started out as friends, and then yeah, it went sideways quickly. But this card is absolutely nuts, and I'm disappointed in all of you for thinking that it's anything less than that. The
Oh, I
fact that
think it's
it's
great.
the fact that it's not in green is what makes it even better, because Atraxa does not need any more help. You're all bad people for thinking that. All of you. If you're
I
listening to
don't.
this, you're a bad person for thinking that. What is so amazing about this set is it's doing what Ikoria does. If you've listened to us previously, I came to terms with the fact Ikoria is my favorite Magic set ever printed. And why? Because it gave us so much stuff. It gave us commander players the ability to do a billion things we never had the thought of doing, right? And that's what Strixhaven is doing. You're giving us a Boros commander that we can super friends with. That's wild. And it super friends in a way Boros wants to, right? So this doesn't feel so much like Lorehold on the front, because we're attacking, but that's okay. There's a billion ways to make this guy indestructible and evasion, whatever. The backside is super Lorehold with the ability to bring stuff back and being able to discard creatures. We just talked about how Lorehold and uh, is giving this new reanimator theme, right? That's exactly what this is doing. For 6 mana, okay, like we're going to be playing artifacts basically to get him to 6, being able to discard and draw 2. You're going to pitch a fatty to bring back and most likely keep, because once again, we can reanimate from the command zone, but we can also keep those reanimation effects through different ways. Sundial of the Infinite is already played in a billion decks that do this in red.
Yeah, you have Restoration Angel, Flicker Wisp.
I just want to point that out. I just don't want people to undersell this card, because I hate Boros. I want to make that very clear. Boros is terrible.
Blasphemy.
Lorehold,
Blasphemy.
Lorehold is amazing. It is the reanimation guild now, and I just want everyone to remember that you're not looking at Boros. You're looking at Lorehold. You have to look at it differently. Put some respect on it.
Can you just clip that where he said that this is the Reanimator Guild moving forward?
It is. It's insane.
It does open up a lot of space for different colors and for people to experiment with different colors if they don't, right? Like Zach, like you said, you're not building Boros decks, but now you
I'm
might
building
be
Lorehold
enticed.
decks.
Yeah. Now you may be enticed,
Like,
correct?
I know I'm being overbearing and excited about it, but the fact is, like, this is a part of the color pie I didn't care about. I don't have a Boros deck. I have 38 commander decks back here. Guess how many are Boros?
2.
I have Mardu. That's not Boros. Lorehold,
True.
I've already built 3 different commanders.
So Zach's going off on it.
I'm just saying, be excited about things. Don't let it weigh you down.
Oh, I am excited for sure. Paul, this next one, go ahead.
Oh, this is everything I love about Magic and more. Professor Onyx for 4 colorless and 2 black. Legendary Planeswalker Liliana. Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Oh, I'm getting really excited about this. +1, you lose 1 life. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest in your graveyard. -3, each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls. -8, each opponent may discard a card. If they don't, they lose 3 life. Repeat this process 6 more times. This is everything I love in black. It's just like, screw you, I do what I want.
It's a
The
nuts card.
-3, the -3, the fact that it says sacrifice. So you hit any of the Eldrazi or anything, like if they're playing some big gnarly, they drop Ulamog on the thing, it's like, yeah, -3, sacrifice your creature. So it just hits a lot of stuff. And the simple fact that, you know, the passive ability gains you life and is draining your opponents, while at the same time you get to dig through your library and speed through it with her. I'm in love with this card. Like, the next time you see me, I'm going to have a big poster of Professor Onyx on the back of my wall.
Are you going to get a back piece done of Professor Onyx on your back?
My back's already tattooed, or I would.
This is the card that made Chain of Spogs spike so much.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I see anybody else, right, it goes infinite with everything goes infinite with Chain of Smog. They don't look at the cards. These are designed for standard. Wink, wink. Chain of Smog's not in standard. Just don't worry, it's fine.
So even though I just went on a big rampage about how much I like Luca, I don't typically play a lot of Planeswalkers. So her being 6 makes me super happy because she can protect herself the second she drops. Because if someone sees this is going to be kind of like a kill on sight. There's way too much value, way too many things you can do. So being able to drop her, neg her to for 3 to like, hey, that Ulamog that you were worried about that you keep telling us about, Paul, which I'm very concerned about your play group, bud. That's just
I say
phenomenal.
that, but I'm usually the one playing it. So
you're the problem. Got it.
yeah.
But no, really, like I feel like there's a lot of investment for Planeswalkers when you're playing the game, obviously, right? So being able to play the commander and that turn be able to answer threats so that you can protect it to be able to gain value in commander is pretty big.
Yeah. There's they did Rowan and Will Kenrith are on this plane again as well. They're a flip card this time. Both of them have static abilities to decrease the cost of instant and sorceries, and in Izzet, I love that. The front face is red, the back face is blue. So Rowan is the front face. It's 2 and a red. Has a 2 loyalty starting +1. Deals 1 damage to each opponent. If you've drawn 3 or more cards this turn, it deals 3 damage to each opponent instead. It's an OK +1. It's -4. Crazy. You get an emblem with whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may pay 2. If you do, copy it, and you can choose new targets. I love that emblem. It's awesome. The back is Will, and its +1 is up to 1 target creature has base power and toughness 0-2 till your next turn. -3, draw 2 cards, and then -7, exile up to 5 target permanents. For each permanent exiled this way, its controller creates a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. So first off, if I ever have Will out and have it up to do that, I'm doing people's lands because it's hilarious. They should always write non-land, but they didn't. I'm going to do every one of their lands. And especially if they're playing a multicolor deck, I'm going to do every one of their lands of one color. I'm a bad person.
Yes.
I'm the problem. I'm just going to point that out.
Dan is also a problem.
Okay. I am, by the way, realizing there is no way we are getting through all of the rares. So we're just going to finish up our mythics and go over the top rares and the legends in the rares. And that's still going to take us because we are we have thoughts on these.
I'm so sorry. I've been so excited about Lorehold, and it makes me feel weird.
Let me tell you, Zach, I'm excited when you're excited. Lotus, you take this next one away.
Okay, so Shadrix Silverquill, 3 white black, legendary Elder Dragon, 2/5, flying double strike. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose 2. Each mode must target a different player. Target player creates a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. Target player draws a card and loses a life. Or target player puts a +1 counter on each creature they control.
I'm
in love with it.
Oh, I am. This is why I'm doing it on Brewing It Live this Sunday.
Oh,
Shameless plug.
guys, this set, it makes me have breathing problems. So many breathing problems.
Zach, you're excited again already.
Dude,
In-
like, look at the card. Like, it's a 2/5, so already my Abzan life gain loves this deck. It has its flying and double strike. Like, okay. It okay, yeah. I think two of these modes are fine. One of these modes is insane. It not only can buff your team, which is amazing, and they are counters. They're not just like, oh, +1/+1 till end turn. No, we get counters. But also, it is such a good like politics commander, right? I want to. Hey guys, I'm just here doing stuff. Like, you know what? You need card draw, my friend in red. How about this? You leave me alone. Go smack that guy. I'll give you a card. Whatever.
I love the Orzhov politics. That's probably for the pre-con league we're running. I'm gonna probably be playing this deck style. It looks so fun. I love it. Shadrix may be my only upgrade for the whole league. I don't want to upgrade the deck. Whatever I play, I'm gonna try play the raw deck, but this deck might get a little Shadrix love.
I just
It's
want to put in illness in the ranks and give everyone 2/1s that just die.
exactly. And see, that's the thing too. And that's what I love about you, Lotus. You have all these like, oh, these are the interactions that I want to do because they're just like stuff I wouldn't remember, but it's stuff I want to do.
Zach, we each need to run Shadrix in our +1/+1 counter deck and attack each other and put the +1/+1 counters on all of our stuff.
That's the thing. I don't want to run in my +1/+1 counter decks. I want to run it in my Abzan life gain deck. Because that's stupid. Yeah.
There's some cool stuff. What do you think of these Elder Dragons, Paul?
I mean, I'm a fan. I'm just staying quiet because there's one rare in particular I want to talk about. So I'm trying to speed up the process.
All right, we'll get to it. Yeah, there's definitely a lot. The next one we have here is the Simic Elder Dragon, Tanazir Quandrix. It's 3 and Simic for an Elder Dragon, flying trample. When it enters the battlefield, double the number of 1/1 counters on target creature you control. I love that. When it attacks, you may have the base power and toughness of other creatures you control become equal to Tanazir Quandrix's power and toughness till the end of the turn. I love it. It's very cool. It's token themed. 1/1 counter theme. Does anyone else have any thoughts on this Voltron commander?
The artwork is beautiful.
I like actually I like both artworks, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
He looks like a baby in the womb, and it makes me happy.
Zach, you take the Lorehold Dragon.
Oh god, I don't know how to say this name.
Velomachus.
Okay, so Voldemort Lorehold, 5 red white, legendary creature, Elder Dragon. It's a 5/5 with flying, vigilance, haste. When Lord Voldemort attacks, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to Velomachus Lorehold power from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I once again like I love the design space that we're in with Strixhaven. There's just this doesn't feel like a lore hold thing. This feels more kind of like an Izzet or Simic thing, and I love the fact that you just get opportunities to build in kind of like color shifted decks. You know, like we just got Time Spiral remastered, right? So we got to see a lot of like our color shifted cards. And this set kind of like harkens back to that for me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that's how it feels, and I really enjoy that.
I like it a lot. I'm going to rip through some of these rares here. If I skip one that you guys want, let me know. We'll go back to it. I'm going to start first and foremost with Cody. So Cody Vociferous Codex is 3 mana and the card I'm the most excited for in the entire set. I built this the day it was spoiled. I'm very excited for it, and I bought a Eureka for it because that's how much I want to play this one. It's 3 mana for a legendary artifact creature construct. So first off, it's a 5-color commander. It gives you the restriction of you cannot cast permanent spells. Then you can pay 4 and a tap. You add Wooburg. Whenever you cast your next spell this turn, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile an instant or sorcery with lesser CMCMs. I will not say mana value. Until end of turn, you may cast a card without paying its mana cost. Put each other card on the bottom in a random order. This is very cool. Wooburg Spellslinger that can't cast permanents, but obviously will benefit from having permanents. I love everything about this card. I don't know if anyone is excited about it as me, but I saw it. I love it. This is the best card in the set, in my opinion.
I absolutely love this card. It's about time we got a colorless commander that also is a 5-color commander that's not just Golos.
Yeah, that's not Golos.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I really still don't understand this card. I'm excited for it because it's a construct.
Fair. I respect that.
Got nothing.
Beautiful card.
Paul, do you care about our lovely new book?
I like the art.
Fair. That's fair.
It's not the type of decks I play, so
I could respect that. One of the next rares I wanted to touch on is Culling Ritual. It is silly. 2 and Golgari colors. It's a sorcery. If it was instant, it would be nuts. But still, sorcery pretty good. Destroy each non-land permanent with CMC 2 or less. Add a black or green for each permanent destroyed this way. Crazy card.
This card's amazing.
This card is going to blow out so many elf players.
It makes me happy. It makes me
It's
so
gonna
happy.
blow out so many CEDH players.
That's also true. All the mana rocks and
That's a great mana crypt you have. It's giving me mana. Yeah, if it was instant, it'd be a little bit better, but still pretty good.
Can we talk about the? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, even like with token decks and stuff like that, the mana you would rip off of that, like that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
So you play some big gnarly creature like Ulamog.
that'd be fun.
I want to talk about a card. I'm sure no one else really cares about it, but it makes me super happy. It's Demigoth Titan. It's it's 4 hybrid green black, so you can pay whichever of the two. It's an 11/10 demon, and whenever it attacks blocks, you sack a creature.
I understand why they're putting an 11/10 at 4 mana, but that's yeah.
and
Oh no, people in black and green don't want to have to sacrifice their creature. Better punish them.
well, and this Witherbloom stuff in this set, everything is about making 1/1 pests. So you're gonna have an infinite amount of creatures to sack to keep him going.
I've been really, really working on my Mimeoplasm deck lately. This goes in Papa Ooze.
This next one is strange. I need Lotus to decode this for me. So Lotus, explain double major. Jumping back in, sorry, we had a drop there. Lotus, I wanted you to explain double major and what it is and what it does.
Okay, so this is one I'm excited for. Double major, instant, green and blue. Copy target creature spell you control, except it isn't legendary if the spell is legendary. So, you cast any creature you want to cast. Hold priority while it's on the stack. You are controlling that spell. Cast this in response, copying the creature spell that you have held priority with it on the stack, and make a copy of it. The copy is not legendary.
So it does have to be on the stack. You cannot just like, I have my commander out, let me copy it. It needs to be as it's on the stack.
Yeah, a creature spell is while it's resolving, not while it's resolved.
Yeah, not a creature you control. I wanted to double check that was the right way that it is. We're going to jump back to one of the ones. Sorry there. Did you have something else to say on that one? Or?
Yeah, so if you're playing on like Arena or something, make sure you are holding priority on that spell. Otherwise, it will not work.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, Callous Blood Mage, go.
All right, Callous Blood Mage, 2 colorless black for a 2/1 Vampire Warlock. When it enters the battlefield, choose one. Create a 1/1 black and green token with this creature. When this creature dies, gain a life. You may draw a card and lose a life, or exile target player's graveyard. If anybody plays with me, they know that I like options and as many options as possible. And this card just hits home because everything on it is good, and it low CMC. I think it's going to go in a ton of my black decks. That's all.
I really like that they did another cycle of the show lands, the reveal. So they have an is it one, one for each of the colors. Obviously, I'll just read the first one. As Frostboil Snarl enters the battlefield, you may reveal an island or mountain card from your hand. If you don't, it enters tapped. I've always liked the reveal lands. I think they're pretty cool. They're a great budget replacement for needing two colors.
Yeah.
They also did this weird cycle. I want to do Ingenious Mastery and talk about that one. It's X, 2 and a blue. You can pay 3 rather than its cost. If 3 was paid, You draw 3 cards, then an opponent creates 2 treasure tokens and they scry 2. If it wasn't, you just draw X cards. I really like the politics that they put in so many of these cards.
But they're designed for standard.
Yeah, exactly. I do, yeah, exactly. When you look at this, there's no way that they're not just disrespecting that whole format with this design.
Yeah, there's no way in standard ever that I'm going to give my opponent 2 treasure tokens, let them scry 2.
Yeah. So we're finally at some of the deans. There's so many cards to go over in the set. This is Kian, Dean of Substance. It's 2 and a green. It has tap, exile the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it in your hand. Otherwise, put a study counter on it. Then 4 and a green, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put a 1/1 counter on it for each different mana value. Ugh, gross. DMC among non-land cards you own in exile with study counters on them. And then the backside is Ibrahim. I don't know. He's an owl. It's 2 blue. He's a great looking artwork card for a flying bird wizard. It has 2 blue. Tap, exile the top X cards of your library and put a study counter on each of them. Then you may put a card you own in exile with a study counter into your hand. I think it's a really cool card.
This does seem like these cards seem like they would be better in a 4 of constructed format, though, so you can play both halves to take advantage of both sides.
True. Zach, Auric Lore Mage, read it to me.
Auric Lore Mage, 2 double black creature, human warlock. Tap. Oh, it's a 3/3. Tap, search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle it. If it's an instant or sorcery card, put a +1/+1 counter on Auric Lore Mage. I want more entombs. I always need more entombs. This is a creature entomb. Nothing bad. 9 times out of 10, I'm not putting an instant or sorcery card in my graveyard. No, we're banning a creature so I can reanimate it for nothing. It's good.
Paul, you love black cards. Feel free to chime in.
I mean, it's everything good in black. Like he was just saying, Zach hit the nail on the head. You're putting whatever you want in your graveyard and then just recurring it. And the fact that it's just a tap, I mean, you're doing it every turn. It's not just an instant or sorcery that you do once and you're done.
Well,
I will own this card.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
The thing I want to mention is it's not a once per turn effect either. So with so many cards like Seaborn Muse, and we have a bunch of weird random artifacts that let you untap permanent or a permanent, you can get a ton of value out of this card. You can literally set up your graveyard for a win. It might be kind of slow. You might have to jump through some hoops, but it is very possible to just, I need these cards right now. I'm going to take advantage of this card and bin everything.
Yeah. This next one, I'm just reading the front of because it's silly. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
No, I was just going to say with some of the graveyard recursion stuff we have, I mean, even with, crap, I can't think of the card now, the green-black, exchange your graveyard with your hand. Mm-hmm. If you play these two together, it's broken.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Pestilent Cauldron, I wanted to just talk about one of the abilities on it. It's 2 and a black. It has 3 abilities. Number 1 is tap, discard a card, create a black and green pest with whenever it dies, you gain a life. Great card, but the next one is the one that is going to be very annoying. It's 1 and a tap. Each opponent mills cards equal to the amount of life you gained this turn. Was that Zach?
Yep, he died.
Oof.
I'm sorry, guys.
The Skinwalkers got him.
This is Brian from the Void. He's dragging us all out. Then it has one final ability, which is 4 and a tap. Exile 4 cards from a single graveyard, draw a card. I like that.
I love this card.
Cool one.
I can't express myself properly.
That's blasphemy to Zach, I know, but sometimes you got to get rid of some things.
Hold on, it's from a 4 cards from a single graveyard.
Yeah,
not mine. No, not Zach's.
Never Zach.
And you get to pick what you're exiling. It's not even they don't get to choose.
But you do have to have 4 targets, which could be bad.
I'm gonna use this when Zach casts that crazy Haymaker spell to swap his hand in his graveyard to get all of his goodies.
The next Dean we have is Plarg, Dean of Chaos. What a weird name. 1 in red for an Orc Shaman. It has tap, discard a card, draw a card. Then it has 4 and a red, tap reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary, non-land with CMC 3 or less. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put all cards not cast this way on the bottom of your library. Actually, that's pretty cool. Another 3 CMC matters deck, Zach.
I like the flip side a lot more because it's very interesting.
Read it to me, Zach.
Uh, Augusta, Dean of Order, it's 2 and a white for a human cleric, a 1/3. Other tap creatures you control get +1/+0. Other untapped creatures you control get +0/+1. Whenever you attack, untap each creature you control, then tap any number of creatures you control. This to me feels more like a traditional like Boros kind of deck, like Commander, but it's very interesting. It's a really unique design space. There's a lot of cool things you can do with this, I feel like. And I've already seen a bunch of people talking about Sword of the Prunes with this creature. So there's like you're just going to get buffed no matter where you're at in life.
True. The next card I think is the one Paul mentioned earlier he wanted to talk about. I believe.
Oh, this is not one of them that. Are you talking about Poets Quill?
No, not the next one on the list. It's down in the R's.
Oh. I don't know. That's not the card I was talking about.
Well,
I'll talk about it.
I'll let Zach talk about it. Zach, please.
Oh, buddy, Rust Rebirth, a black and a green for an instant. Choose target creature. When that creature dies this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser CMC, put on the battlefield, tap, and shuffle. Hey, Dan, what is this card missing?
Not when your creature dies. It's when any creature dies. So I love convincing people to I love the politics of Magic. It's so fun. I love convincing people to get rid of other people's stuff. Hey, we don't want Brian's Xeris, so let's kill that. And somebody kills Xeris. I go pull something with lesser CMC than his Xeris. I love everything about the card. Get people to blow their removal on something for you. Or if you remove it, I just love it. It's such a good card.
Card's amazing.
I already play Pattern of Rebirth in a lot of my decks, which does a similar thing, but it's an enchantment and it'll let you get any creature. I would rather play this, I feel like, because it's 2 in an instant. And like you said, it can target my stuff, it can target your stuff. If I'm behind in the game and I'm able to convince someone to get rid of a big threat that's pretty decent mana, value, I can just go get whatever I want.
I
like
love it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I think that's the thing I love about this card. I mean, this is a great card. This is just not the one I want to talk about. But
you talk about the one you want, because that's this. When you said it, I was like, he's gonna talk. He wants Rush Rebirth. I'll give him.
no,
that.
I love this card. I mean, the fact that it's any creature, the mana cost on it, it's just super versatile. I don't know how many times I feel like every time I play anyone on Into the 99, I'm mana screwed. And so this way, it can kind of balance out the game and buy me some time. I think it's going to be greatly undervalued at first, and I think this is going to be a really good one. The one I am super excited about, and it is not for Commander, so that may be why, and this may be in poor taste talking about it on a Commander show. But can we just talk about Silverquill Silencer for a minute?
Okay.
And how amazing this card is? So, Silverquill Silencer is a white and a black 3/2. As it enters the battlefield, choose a non-land card name. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with chosen name, they lose 3 life and you draw a card. So, anytime, like, it's sideboard all day long for Modern or anything, because you can really mess them up, especially if you don't play it in your main deck, and then you just sideboard 4 in and say, oh, I know exactly what you're trying to do. I'm going to mess you up the rest of the game. But the other thing is, too, so I have several friends in my play group, and I'm a horrible person at once. But even for Commander, think about it like if you have that friend in your pod that you know is going to play their Shadowborn Apostle deck, their Persistent Partitioners, like, you're going to kill them with this card.
Dan's new favorite card.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The one common we're talking about from the set before we're done. Oh, whoops.
Well, yeah. So I just think this card kind of snuck out for a lot of people, and I'm just super excited about it.
Well, Paul, I think
my Shadowborn Apostle deck.
I think you kind of missed the big thing about it, like when you were talking about Modern and the other non-commander formats, is that it's a human. So
Oh yeah.
the human decks are already running like Meddling Mage and other very good humans. I just remember Meddling Mage because I know how problematic that card is in humans. But this goes, they can slot in fairly easy too, because you're right. You're playing, most situations you're playing foros in like constructed formats because you want to get that consistency. So having a card that's like, well, you can do that, but I'm going to plus off of you in two different ways is very powerful.
One of the ones I wanted to touch on here too is Semester's End. This is a card that really screams like Brian's playstyle. Brian from the Void. It's 3 and a white. It's an instant. Exile any number of target creatures and/or planeswalkers you control. Brian doesn't play planeswalkers though. Beginning of your next end step, return each of them to the battlefield under its owner's control. Each of them enters with an additional 1/1 on it if it's a creature, and an additional loyalty if it's a planeswalker. I just think that's a really, really good protection from like a board wipe, especially if you're in. We're seeing Winds of Abandon played a lot more. At least I am. Like a lot of people are really picking up that like exile everything overload. And this is just a great way to save all of your things. And it's really, really good in Ranar. And Ranar is really fun.
This is another thing that Lotus has taught me. Another thing I appreciate about you. She always preaches like different different alternatives to like staples in our format. Like instead of Teferi's Protection, like why aren't you running Eerie Interlude? Does something very similar and it's cheaper. This, when I saw this, I instantly thought like Lotus in the back of my head, like, oh, this works for this. It not only does the things you want it to do as a proactive card, but a reactive card too. This is going to be better in a lot of situations because this is at the end of the next, at the beginning of the next end step. So yeah, I'm gonna rat the board. That's fine. Semester's in.
Yeah, the
There-
other thing that's better, I feel, is with Teferi, you're phasing. With this, you're exiling, so they'll re-ETB.
I love ETB. Put this in Rune. Rune of the Hidden Realm, Brian's favorite deck. Ruin your friendships. The next one we have is the Dean of Radiance. It's I can't say it. I'm calling it Shyly. It's Shyly, Dean of Radiance. It's 1 and a white for a 1/1 bird cleric, flying vigilance. Tap, put a 1/1 counter on each creature that enters the battlefield under your control this turn. I really, really like that card. I play Tyam, and yeah, I just like to put counters on things. The reverse side of it is Ambrose, Dean of Shadows, 2 black. It's a 4/4. Tap, put a 1/1 counter on another target creature, then it deals 2 damage to that creature. Whenever a creature you control the 1/1 counter on it dies, draw a card. So it has. I would love that. Yeah. There's so many decks. Zach is the one who turned me on to the black and white token theme, counter theme. Sorry. And every time I see cards like this, it just slots into so many, like his Yannick and Nakara deck, right?
It's absurd to me. That's just a static ability, right? That's not you get that when that ability goes off when you kill a creature with his ability. That's just whenever a creature with a +1/+1 counter on it dies. So if you have something with Undying, that means you've got them back once, have a +1/+1 counter on it. You're probably going to sacrifice it again to do something, and you get to draw a card. Like, okay, the value train is just like loaded and full of steam, and it's just going.
I agree. The next one of the Deans is the Is It one. It's Nasari, Dean of Expression. It's 3 red for a 4/4. I don't know which is the front side of these. I have both of them flipped right now. Anyways, this might not be the front side. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end of turn, you can cast spells from among the exiled cards and spend mana anyway. Then, whenever you cast a spell from exile, put a 1/1 counter on it. I love chaos themes. This is fun and hilarious. I really like casting other people's spells. It's very fun. I do it in Halden and Paco. It's a great time. This is a hilarious card. I love it. The artwork's kind of silly. The flip side is Uvilda, Dean of Perfection, 2 and a blue. It's 2/2 for a Jin Wizard. You may, that's a wordy card. You may exile an instant or sorcery card from your hand and put 3 hone counters on it. It gains at the beginning of your upkeep. If this card is exiled, remove a hone counter from it. And when the last one is exiled, last hone counter is removed from this card. If it's exiled, you may cast it. It's 4 less to cast this way. So you do have to cast it on that turn, but 4 less is like a pretty big discount on cards. It's pretty steep. Yeah, I like it.
In the future too, if you're unsure, if you look at the top left-hand corner, when it's just the one triangle, it's the front face, and you look at the back, or when you flip it, the back side has the two.
You fool, you think I know shapes?
Right, the next Dean is Valentine, Dean of the Vein, 1 black for a 1/1 Vampire Warlock, Menache and Lifelink. Already amazing stats. If a
Crazy
non
stuff.
Yeah, if a non-token creature an opponent controls with die, exile it instead. When you do, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. I'm gonna hose other people's graveyard decks, and I get to do it turn 1.
Yeah,
Turn 1, I get to play my commander, and turn 2, I have a land drop.
this is how you don't be friends with Zach, though. If
Yeah,
you host his deck like this, Zach's not
I'll
playing with you.
I'll disconnect. I will 100% disconnect.
Also, the backside of this card is nuts. First off, the art, I think these are my favorite artworks on the Deans. They look so good.
Mhm.
I really like the
Um,
owls. Owls are cool, but
so I'm probably gonna butcher this name, but Lucetta,
Lisette,
Dean
I
of
don't know.
Dean of the Root, 2 green green for a human druid. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 1. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with, and those creatures gain trample until end of turn.
Bonkers.
I have
I
emotions.
mean, I don't know why you would cast it for the other side. It's a good card, but she's just broken.
It's bonkers.
You
I go
just,
back a few cards in a minute.
of
Lotus, go
course,
ahead. Jump back right now.
I mean, you've passed Strixhaven Stadium.
I
This
didn't
card,
I didn't like Pokemon Stadium, but what does it do?
I love this card. It's an artifact for 3 that you can tap to add colorless. Put a point counter on Strixhaven Stadium. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, remove a point counter from Strixhaven Stadium. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent, put a point counter on it. Then, if it has 10 or more point counters on it, remove them all, and then that player loses the game.
But
So
who
much
loses
fun.
the game?
Loses
you
the
do like
game. Triggers
Quandrix.
are fun.
The person that you attacked and put the counters on that attack trigger.
This seems like a Lotus card because you already like Quandrix and Simic, and this is another alt win. Well, it's not necessarily an alt win con, but it's an alt lose con.
Yeah,
We
it's Door of
It's
Nothingness, but with a stadium and a few mini games.
right.
It's such a
We see
confusing card.
we see that a lot with the Simic style stuff. We have oh god, what's it called? The Simic
Simic
enchantment.
Ascendancy.
We have Simic Ascendancy, we have Helix Pinnacle, we have all those kind of silly cards, and this is just another one that's goes right into that kind of theme that instead of someone just outright winning the game, you can make a person lose the game. This also can be very political. It's like a much scarier Lux Cannon, but
But
Yep.
it's also like ultra political in that all of your opponents are going to want to attack you to keep point counters off of the stadium.
True. I was wrong earlier. I do have a more favorite card from the normal Strixhaven set, and it's this Wandering Archaic. I love that they put something so good into colorless because I want to put it in every deck that I've ever played.
I remember this one. You freaked out.
Yeah, this is just a silly card. It's a 4/4 avatar for 5. It's colorless. Pardon me. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy it.
Enough
That's
said.
nuts.
Had to take a drink there for a second. I'm dying with how good that card is. It is like one of the. Why would they print this for any for death and taxes kind of decks? But if you can ramp this out early and stuff and just be getting people's cultivates, getting their explosive vegetations, all of that, it's so good. Such a good card.
They printed it for standard.
Yeah.
So they can experience. Do you pay the 2?
Ooh. I will Imperial Seal, not for 3.
yeah, we already see this kind of stuff with how many people actually pay for Ristic Study? How many people actually pay for Smothering Tithe?
Well,
Are you
Brian's playing it. Brian loves. He needs a do you pay the 1 or do you pay the 2 button. I will. It's like those staples that was easy buttons. I'm gonna get him one for the that. Do you pay the 1?
um so the backside
Also
because there is a
nuts.
Yeah, there is a backside. It's Explore the Vastlands, and it's a 3-cost sorcery. Each player looks at the top 5 cards of their library, reveals a land card and/or an instant or sorcery card from among them, then puts those cards they revealed this way into their hand, and the rest on to the bottom of their library in a random order. Each player gains 3 life.
Best group hug card ever printed.
Nice.
Well, and once again, if we're just playing a colorless deck, this is amazing for us. I will play this in Karn. Like, already having the front side is great, but even just like, man, I really need to get some kind of card draw or something. This this is going to do well.
I like Once Upon a Time for how good it is for getting me something early and just digging for something I want more. This is just a really good card. Looking at the top 5 cards and getting a land and or sorcery and instant, love it. Love it.
hmm
Can't say enough good things about it. Does anyone have anything else to say about this one? That's so good.
Nope.
Okay,
That's good.
there's one comment. I told everyone at the start, I was like, we're not going through all the commons. There's going to be no time to do it. Give me a list of the commons you want to talk about. We don't have time to talk about any of those because there's still other ones. But I am talking about one because I control the recording. So, anyways, Dragon's Approach is the one I'm talking about. It is a 3 CMC, and it's one of the silliest cards I've ever seen printed in a while. It deals 3 damage to each opponent. You can exile it and 4 other cards named Dragon's Approach from your graveyard. If you do search your library for any dragon, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. A deck can have any number of cards named Dragon's Approach. I love this card so much. Already built a deck around it. So fun. I love you can have more than one thing. And as soon as Paul was talking about that Silverquill Silencer, I was like, whoo, this better not be on the board. This better not be here. Don't bring those demons out on me.
Well, what I think is nice about this card, excuse me, is you don't have to play those cards, right? Like, let's say you have the one that you have to cast, right, to get the effect. But if you've like looted, which is what you do in red, or if you entomb or anything like that to put them into the grave, you could be spending your turn just setting up to cast one. So like if you're playing a very big like, counter spell or dealing with someone like countering your stuff, you just have to worry about getting one through. And then you just get all the value of the ability.
See, for me, I took this deck a different way. I read this and then was like, well, I'm going to go to the store and buy another Neheb. And then I'm going to use this as a permanent 3 mana to gain 9 mana in my deck every turn with Neheb if I only cast one of them.
Did you get a thrumming stone too?
Sure did.
Well,
Thrumming
I'm
Stone,
definitely.
Locket of Yesteryears, all of the Pyromancer's Attention. Trust me, I went off. I saw this. I was like, well, this deck is happening.
I'm definitely going to get Test of Talents from this set and just play it against you.
I don't know what that does.
Test of Talents is an instant, uncommon, 1 and a blue. Counter target instance or sorcery spell. Search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name of that spell and exile them. That player shuffles.
In
And then
response,
draw.
I am sad.
Sad hits the stack, fizzles.
Dan disconnects.
You can't exile what is no longer here.
Split second disconnect.
Um, so after that, there isn't necessarily one card I want to talk about, but there is a cycle of cards that I feel like needs to be discussed at common level before we move on, and that's the like new 2 CMC removal spells. Like we got Decisive Duel and Decisive Denial and Quandrix. We got Fracture and Silverquill. Um, where is the Mortality Sphere and Witherbloom and Rip Apart and Lorehold. And the only one that's vastly different is Mortality Sphere and the fact that it's 4, but because of its like ability, it costs 2 less. But these all do some type of removal that I feel like is just insanely good. Decisive Duel is green and blue. Choose one. Target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 3. Amazing value for 2 mana. Fracture, white and a black, instant. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker. Which this is just going to replace any removal spell we're playing in Orzhov or Silverquill now. Um, Mortality Sphere, which I already read most of it, but it's 2 black green instant. It costs 2 less to cast if you gain life this turn. Destroy target non-land permanent. Just gonna deal with whatever for 2, most likely. And Rip Apart is a red and a white for a sorcery. Choose one. Rip Apart deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker, or destroy target artifact or enchantment. Like, we have a lot of removal already in Commander, but I've noticed a trend of everything just becoming more and more efficient and more modal, and just giving us the ability to do a lot of removal in different ways. And I think all these schools really harkened on it and just what their removal package does, and they're all efficient and great. So it's something I think when you're opening packs, don't skim over. Put them in your binder. You're going to use them more times than you realize.
I wanted to talk about the alternate commanders too, the ones that we hadn't seen on our last one. But before, I've been seeing the rumor that these decks no longer come with the oversized card, but that they come with a second foil one of the commander,
That's
but
cool.
but it's just like a thicker cardboard or something. Like it's not supposed to be playable or something, but it's like the same size as a card. So everyone is just gonna play it. What are we talking about? Like if that's the case, then yeah, like I think most of these are gonna come with 2 of the face commanders, technically.
That's nice.
I have no idea if any of what I said is accurate or correct. Do not hold me to it. And if I'm wrong, feel free to let me know. But yeah, I wanted to quickly go into some of the alternate ones. So for Lorehold, we have Alibu, Ancient Witness, 3, and the Boros colors. It's a Golem. Yeah, the Lorehold colors. Sorry, Zach. Sorry. Please. It's 4 and 5. Other artifact creatures you control have haste. Whenever one or more artifact creatures you control attack, Alibu, Ancient Witness deals X damage to any target, and you scry X, where X is the number of tapped artifacts you control. I think that's a pretty cool card.
I
Brash
like it.
Honor. I'm building
Yeah.
another Brash Honor deck.
Zach, down to this Essex, please.
Ooh, buddy. Okay, Essex Fractal Bloom, 4 green blue for a legendary creature Fractal, 4/4 flyer. The first time you would create one or more tokens during each of your turns, you may instead choose a creature other than Essex Fractal Bloom and create that that many tokens that are copies of that creature.
Card is a headache.
Avenger of Zendikar with 10 lands. I will make 11 Avenger of Zendikars.
Oh, God, I didn't care about the Quandrix commander deck at all. I thought it was going to be cool, but I was just kind of like, meh. I saw the face commander and I was like, it just feels kind of pushed. Then I saw this, and my whole brain went to jelly. I feel like I'm going to be texting Lotus like a billion times, like, hey, does this work like I think it does? Hey, does this work like I think it does?
More so
Hey,
than normal.
hey, real
Yes, more
quick
so than
question.
normal.
The next one we have is Felisa, Fang of Silverquill, 2 and 1 white, 1 black for a 3/2 vampire wizard, flying mentor. I really like that they put mentor back in this. I like mentor
Yeah.
as a mechanic. Whenever a
Yeah.
non-token creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, create X tapped 2/1 white and black inkling tokens, where X is the number of counters it had on it.
So good.
Love it.
Pretty good. It
Yeah.
is pretty good.
It seems
I
like a Lender of the Dusk Rose kind of feel.
Yeah,
Mhm.
sort of. Like I like it, but in reverse.
Mm.
Yeah, I just really like it. Lotus, you read me Master Chef,
Oh, yes. Go,
Mr. Ramsey
Master
himself.
Chef. Gordon Ramsay himself. 2 black green for a Troll Warlock, 5/3 trample. At the beginning of your end step, create a number of food tokens equal to the number of non-token creatures you had enter the battlefield under your control this turn. Pay 1 generic, sacrifice a food. Target creature gains indestructible till end of turn. Tap it. Now, obviously you have cat combo with the cauldron and the cat, but that tapping ability of making something indestructible, you can give someone else's creature indestructible and tap it to stop them attacking you.
Mm-hmm.
I am so building this deck.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for this so much.
Can I just
The-
say that I'm disappointed that it's not legendary creature Troll Chef?
I actually had something I wanted to say about that. I'm super excited it's Troll Warlock and not Troll Shaman. I thought for sure when I saw the art that's what they were going to do. The fact that it's a Warlock makes me so happy that they kept on theme with that.
I love this card so much.
The only thing missing from this card, in my opinion, is doesn't come with a Gilded Goose. Gilded Goose is so good. I try to buy out everything, and there's no more Gilded Gooses. The goose is currently on the loose, and I need more. But it's also missing the flavor text of finally some good food.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the quote I'm saying. I want, but yeah, it's missing that one for sure. I love this card. It's such a cool card, and I really like the food tokens. I think they're cool.
Yeah, I'm glad they've brought them back.
Yeah, which is the other one? So we did Essex, we did Lorehold, we did the Golgari one.
You want me to read? It's Viren, Voice of Duality. 1 blue-red for your legendary creature, Ifrit Wizard, 2/2, Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Viren, Voice of Duality gets +1/+1 until end of turn. If you casting or copying an instant or sorcery spell creates a trigger, causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time.
First off, I was losing my mind with my 1,000-Year Storm decks and all my copy decks because I just love to copy spells. That's a good card. That's a really good card.
It's almost what I like about Izzet, because I think my favorite Izzet thing is Brutaclad. I want more Brutaclad effects, and this is close because I don't necessarily have to. I don't necessarily have to play like a Spellslinger deck. I could do more of a copy deck, clone deck. Like I can quasi duplicate and stuff like that.
And the thing is, Veyron's not getting +1/+1. He's getting +2/+2 every time.
Oh wow, yeah, you're right.
His own trigger triggers himself again.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I think inherently, I just assume that it's always other, creatures other than. But you're
No. It doesn't say other.
you're 100% correct.
There is yeah, those are the main ones I wanted to talk about. There is 2 things I did need to touch on. Number 1, Spectacle Mage with that artwork. It's the pack artwork. Why was this not a legendary creature and a better effect? First off, I'm not even reading what it does. It's not worth it. Look it up yourselves. It's a terrible card. It should have been legendary. It's great artwork. It's an owl. It's a owl in a scarf. Why would not make it legendary? And then the other is Professor of Zoomancy. How are you going to give me a bear with a monocle, make it look this good, and then not make it legendary? I don't even care what that card does. Should have been a legendary. Furious that I saw the packaging and I was like, monocle bear, monocle bear, monocle bear, new monocle legend. Nope. No monocle bear legend. It's not a big fan of that. R&D, you're on notice.
Can I just say that I'm excited for a second that we're getting extended art commanders again in the alternative packs? I feel like we had our first great pre-con with green black elves. I'm going to slaughter the name, so I'm not going to bother.
Lathril.
Yes, thank you. But we had our first great pre-con that it's like, man, that you can upgrade this really easy. It's a great deck, and they didn't do the extended arts. So for those of you who know me well, I hate foils, but I am a big fan of my extended arts. So
is there no extended art of that one? Just like
nope.
I thought that just borderless of the same thing.
No, there's no borderless or extended art. The only thing you can do is in the collector boosters, you could get a non-foil.
Oh, that's gross. Why would?
Because the foiling process has been terrible.
Recently they haven't done it.
Well, I'm glad that is back because I do like that full art stuff. I also don't really like their foils lately. They've been pretty bad. Pretty not good.
I want Essex and full art. Same thing for Oskir.
I am going to spend a lot of money on this set. I spent already a lot on this set, and I'm not happy about it. But
I'm going to eat my words. I'm going to buy the Quandrix deck.
Yeah, there you go.
I was so disappointed when it was spoiled. Dan will know. I spent hours moaning about it, and now I was like, oh wait, I was missing 15 cards. And then I saw 15 cards that were new, and I was like, oh, there it is. There's the deck.
I didn't
There's
realize.
the things we wanted.
Yeah. I was only looking at 85 cards.
I just want a full art of Cursed Mirror so bad.
I don't even know what that one is, Zach.
Cursed Mirror is 2 and a red for an artifact. Tap, add 1 red mana to your mana pool. As Cursed Mirror enters the battlefield, you may have it become a copy of any creature on the battlefield until end of turn, except it has haste.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one.
There's absolutely no way I'm going to break that.
ETB. ETB.
I know that
Double
we're
breath.
having to stop soon, but there's a card that everyone knows what Arachnogenesis does, right?
Mhm.
Ink Shield is just far better, in my
Oh, yeah,
opinion.
that's a nuts card.
Yeah.
Ink Shield is 3 white black instant. Prevent all combat damage that be dealt to you this turn. For each 1 damage prevented this way, create a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature. That's nuts.
It makes me happy because it makes me think of Batwing Broom.
I love Batwing Broom, so good. For
Yeah.
each 1 damage prevented, create and I really like to hit people with a lot of tokens when I do.
Yeah,
I
it's
dirtle
good
too
end
much.
games.
I'll be honest, when we were like kind of I guess closing thoughts, when we were like going over these decks, I wasn't very excited about anything that wasn't Lorehold, which was still I'm still shocked about that. But as we finally got the full set, as we got to see the synergies and see them in parallel with the actual set, I feel like they did a really good job of, trying to balance the two, but also giving us something unique. I know a lot of people were just like concerned, like, all right, we're getting the guilds. So how are the guilds going to be different than the colleges? And this is how they're different. They're very different. They do, Quandrix, I feel like, is a little closer to Simic, sure, because, the +1/+1 counter things. But even still, there's a lot of unique mechanics that we're dealing with. And you can say, this is a Quandrix deck, this is a Simic deck, and you know kind of what you're going to get from both. Same thing, like Boros and Lorehold, you're probably not going to be playing the same style of deck you would expect. So I'm very excited to be able to tell someone, like, if I sit down and ask what everyone's playing and they tell me, oh, I'm playing a Lorehold deck, I know I'm probably going to get something vastly different than if they were just to sit down with Aurelia.
I don't know. I'll let everyone do some closing thoughts on it too, Zach. That was a nice idea, and I want to say mine is that I'm going to play Ruxa Patient Professor as if it has partnered with Eula. I have every intention of playing it that way. It was meant to be played that way clearly, and you will not convince me otherwise. It's a bear druid. They gave me a legendary bear, and I'm gonna write partner with Eula on it.
Well, what's the most important thing about Commander? Rule 0?
Rule 0. Listen, Ruxa should have partner with Eula, and Safi and Hans should have partner, and that's how people should play them. So I don't
I
know what
would
to tell
build
you.
that. I would build that Naya deck all day.
Yeah, I think people should build it.
I'm going to.
Do it. I'll
I
play it.
am. I said
I'll
I'm
let
going
in.
to.
Yeah, do it.
I
I'm
did.
waiting.
It's done.
Lotus, do you have any closing thoughts on this set at all?
Yeah, this set, I've been hyped for D&D so much and overlooked this slightly, but now looking at it deeply, this set has so much flavor and it's so well done. The learn mechanic, the demonstrate mechanic, everything about this set just screams college, and I love everything about it.
Ryan, thoughts?
It's not what I wanted or what I thought I wanted. But the more I look at the cards, the more I'm getting excited. Like a lot of the pre-cons, I'm still not crazy about them, but the shells are there, and I know that I'm going to build some sweet stuff that I will be excited about.
Paul, any thoughts?
I'm kind of like Lotus. I was so excited for Innistrad and stuff coming out later this year and Time Spiral. I just kind of overlooked this, and as the spoilers came out, like, I mean, you talked about spending a lot of money on the set. My small local LGS said I set a new record day for them yesterday when I prepaid for mine. So, subscribers, we have 5 collector booster boxes of this set coming. So,
I'll be
Let's
looking
go.
forward to that.
I think it's time to sign up for your prize thingy, whatever you
Yeah,
want to call it.
let
I
people
just
know a little bit about your Patreon actually quickly. What do the subscribers
okay.
get?
So essentially, it's through Memberful for legal reasons. It's similar to Patreon, but essentially, what it is think of it like an artist collective, if you will. So we have so many Commander fans out there, and you get into certain Commander cards, and they're so expensive to buy. And so I was thinking about it, especially as a budget player starting out. How can I help people get those cards they're really excited about without spending the stupid money I spent? So essentially what it is, you can subscribe for as little as $1 a month, and you get entered into a drawing, that at the end of the month, currently it's my 10 top priced foils that I pull for the month, which we had last month. What were some of the big ones? Well, just to name off a few of the cards, I've given out a foil Phyrexian Vorniclex as one of them. We had a foil Polluted Delta Expedition. All of the cards from the Extra Life Secret Lair were given away. And the coolest thing for me is when I'm doing it, a lot of those people that won those cards spend like $1 or $6 a month. So they won once or twice, and then there's Lotus who just wins all the time. They win once or twice, and they paid for less than what they were going to pay for that card just outright. So it's really just about building community. We also have our own Discord server, not to overshadow Into the 99, that we are currently doing a limited league on as well, because I think we've all been desperately missing drafting and sealed. So,
Paul, what's your Patreon called? I'm sorry, it's not Patreon. You said it was what? I'm sorry.
Memberful. It's Memberful. So my beautiful and very supportive girlfriend also works in law, so she looked through because Patreon has some rules around giveaways. So I want a little more freedom. So it's There's Magic in That Beard at memberful.com. So, and you can also get to the link right in my bio on Instagram, which is the main platform I use.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great time. Thank you so much for Brian producing it. Paul, thank you so much for stopping in. And Zach, can you let everyone know where they can find our stuff?
Sure. If you want to read any of our articles made by our amazing community members, you can find us on into99.com. You can also find us anywhere you can listen to podcasts. We have our new podcast go up every Sunday at 12 MST and some other time zones. I'm sure they're different. You can catch Lotus at Brewnet Live, where they brew decks live every Sunday at what time?
It is 11 GMT plus 1 at this moment in time.
+1, whatever that means. You can find Parallel Thoughts, mine and Benson's Deck Bruins show, where we try to surprise each other with decks and make them work. Right now, those are currently on YouTube. You can also join our amazing Discord, where we have plenty of people talking constantly, games being had, and just all around merriment over the game of Magic the Gathering, specifically Commander. And if you would like to support us in a more monetary fashion, we also have a Patreon where Lotus, Brian, and even Dan have worked. Ryan have worked very hard to come up with different tiers to, give you guys back what what you would like. Vincent's also been working hard with that as well, with a segment we like to call "Flip It or Rip It." If you don't know what that is, you're missing out.
It is a good time. Also, we are running a pre-con league right now, so stop in, play pre-con games with us, and win some prizes. There's no cost to enter, so just come win. Check out www.into99.com, and yeah, you'll see all of it. Thank you so much for listening, guys.
We still got one more thing.
Oh.
Don't just support Into the 99. Wear Into the 99. You can find any of our merch also on any of the sites you would follow us on. Now I'm done. You can go.
I don't think I've ever finished that outro song.
I talk about a lot. I'm sorry.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great day.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Take care. Be safe.
Be kind to each other. Except Brian. He dies first.
Brian does that first. Bye, everyone.